Possible applications of BioGen tissues. We will now have a look at several cases on a model in which the various possibilities of employment of Bioteck products are outlined. This is the case of the reconstruction of a very large defect. There are at least two systems. The first method applied is the one using bone tissue blocks. The first thing to do is adapt the block of bone tissue to the defect. Before being modeled, it has to be hydrated by soaking it in physiological solution for about 5 minutes. To model the block, you can use normal cutting tools, such as a surgical knife, in order to neatly cut and collect the leftover pieces that will be used further on. You can also use drills and trephines. Even though this material is tough, it is also elastic so as to be easily modeled to meet particular requirements. This method is really very simple and is used in the case of large bone defects where the granular form makes the reconstruction quite difficult. This is the type of screw you use to fix the graft. Regeneration requires primary stability, just like a titanium implant. Looseness causes an inflammatory process to arise, which lead to the production of fibrous tissue. In this case, the fibrous tissue performs as a screen, a barrier against the invasion of the vessels, that is, to angiogenesis, and this has to be carefully avoided. So, it is necessary to fix the graft using a screw. The material can be easily perforated. To guarantee primary stability, it is necessary to fix a second screw as well. We call this process primary stability because it is the first stability we give the graft. There is also a secondary stability which is given by the newly formed bone in the cavity. When the bone is forming, it undergoes mineralization, which is the same phenomenon that occurs when a fractured bone undergoes repairing. Initially, the tissue created is osteoid and contains this material, which will be reabsorbed in a second phase. Let's apply BioGen mixed gel. As you can see, the bone tissue provides easier handling, important plasticity, which allows the surgeon to work safely without the risk of invading the areas in front of the bone cavity. Adapt the material. Slightly press without compressing it too much. You must leave a little space within the material so as to allow the blood vessels to form. It is, nevertheless, important not to leave large empty spaces as the vessels will not form. The Bioteck bone tissues can be used together and are complementary. Here you can clearly see how both the block form type of tissue and the granules have been employed to reconstruct the cavity. Bioteck offers dental surgeons a complete range of bone tissues. After finishing reconstruction, the collagen membrane is laid. As you can notice, the bone tissue block does not have the cortical, which is the compact part that stops the epithelial cells from penetrating. The membrane is used to recreate this condition, a compact surface which allows the passage of organic fluids, but blocks the invasion of the cells. If you measure the spaces in the membrane under a microscope, you will find that these are smaller than the cells, and so they are able to block the passage. The membrane remains intact for at least 4 to 6 weeks. You can see how, thanks to the syringe of biomaterial, it is extremely simple to insert a relatively large quantity of granules in the cavity, performing the operation correctly. The material presents itself as plastic and is easy to adapt to the implant site. Insert the material without pressing it too much, filling the cavity, paying attention not to compress, as the aim is to promote angiogenesis. The aim of this bone reconstruction is to have it irrigated by new vessels able to carry all the missing elements. At the moment, the tissue only provides the mineral matrix. Actually, the organic part derives from the two vital bone sections,